All right. So in Java, majority of things that we are using is going to be an object, except a few things that we talk about it, like integer, double, and those things are not going to be an object, even though we have it. We're going to talk about it later. Majority of things are object. So when we are passing object around, remember, object has an address in the memory. We don't actually move the object. We're going to be moving the address of the object. So when we're talking about the object reference, is going to be the address of that object in the memory. So every object, when you create it, when you do the new, is going to go in the memory, it's going to find a place in the memory, and it's going to return the address of that. So whenever we're working with the object, we are working with the reference of that object, not the object itself. So when we say new rectangular 5, 10, 20, 30, it's going to go in the memory, it's going to find the location of what it needs for this object. So it's 4 integer numbers. So it's going to find a location for that size. It's going to create an object right there. That object doesn't have no name right now. It's just an object in the memory of that size that has 5, 10, 20, 30 right after each other. Then it's going to return its address. Now I have an address of this object. Then when I say rectangular box equal that, my box here is going to contain the address of that object. It does not contain the object itself. So we created this object, we're just going to point to it. So for those coming from 3A8, they're talking about the pointers and all those things. We're talking about addresses over here. So we are getting the address of the box. So this box is going to have the address of what we created. Is it clear? So this is going to be the part that might be confusing for the students coming from CS2. Please do stop me and let's talk about it. Anybody has any issue with that? Okay, now the problem is going to happen when we are going to do something like this. So we are going to assign one box to the other one. So we are thinking that if I assign one object to another one, the value is going to be changed. But in reality, that's not what's happening. In reality, what's going to happen is the address is going to be copied over. So they're both going to be pointing to the same object. We can think about the address like if you go to a street, the old-fashioned address was what? The 3rd house to the left, the 4th house to the right. That's the way we were addressing, and that's the way it's addressing in the memory. First one, second one, third one, and so on. So when I say the 3rd one from the left, and I put that in to 2 different people, they're both going to come into the same location, 3rd one to the left. That's the address is going to be copied over. This is important. Why? Because what we're thinking over here is not what is actually happening. So we want to be sure we are clear about that. So numbers are not object. That's one of the few things that are not object. So when you're assigning a number to another number, you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't copy the address. It's just going to copy the value. What else? So if we do something like this, they're both going to be pointing to the same location. So if I do any changes to any of them, it's going to affect the other one too. Here I have a picture, we can look at the picture, but in the program, we don't have that picture, so we might get confused. So when I assign one object to the other one, any changes to one is going to affect the other one too, because they both are pointing to the same location. Okay, so that's the question. What is the different effect of the assignment greeting to equal greeting? So if I do one, okay, one thing that you got to remember is that to uppercase is not actually modifying anything inside the object.